Welcome to the Word for 2021. Today we're in Deuteronomy chapter 13. If you or someone you knew went to the doctor and then the doctor said that they had found a mass, a tumor, they found cancer, the doctor might then say, what we need to do is a surgery to remove that which is wanting to take your life. Could you imagine saying back to the doctor, well, that sounds a little harsh, doesn't it? I mean, that's a little extreme. Don't you think that's a little uncalled for? The doctor might then say, it might sound harsh, but it's for your protection and for your long-term health. We need to do surgery to get rid of that cancer. Well, here in chapter 13, what we're reading might sound harsh, but God is actually telling us that physical death is not as bad as spiritual death. As you read this chapter, this is what you will read. In verses 1 through 5, you're going to be learning about a false prophet and what to do if a false prophet comes into your midst and tries you to get to turn away from God and follow other gods. Then, in verses 6 through 11, it's false friends. What do you do if a brother or a sister or someone close to you comes and says, let's follow another God, let's worship other gods? And then in verses 12 through 18, what if a whole community has turned away and now is following after other gods? That's what Moses is dealing with this new generation that's getting ready to go into the promised land. What if these scenarios are true for them? Well, God is saying, do not let this take place. Verse 5, purge the evil from among you. Verse 8, do not have pity, spare, or shield them. And then in verse 15, completely destroy them. Now again, what God is saying is that this is a serious matter. It sounds harsh, but spiritual death is worse than physical death. Physical death only lasts for a moment, but spiritual death lasts for eternity. God is telling the people that sin and rebellion is not a game. As you're reading this chapter, I want you to also take notice of verse 12. Here, Moses is telling the people, if you hear a rumor, if you hear about something, then don't just believe what you hear, but verse 14, go and inquire, probe, and do an investigation to find out if what you heard is actually correct. That's exactly what happened in Joshua chapter 22. The Israelites had heard that the tribes on the east side of the Jordan had built an altar. They thought and assumed that they were worshiping other gods. So therefore, a civil war was about to break out. They were going to go and do exactly what chapter 13 was telling them. They were going to go and totally annihilate that whole community. Before that happened, though, the priests went over and investigated, and they found out the truth, that the rumors were false. What was taking place was not what they had heard. Now, a war almost broke out because of gossip, because of a rumor. So, what we need to do is understand what chapter 13 is telling us. God is telling the people that sin and rebellion is not a game. Thank you for joining the Word for 2021.